Hello guys and welcome back to the channel, and it's probably been a little bit, I can't remember. I haven't done any reviews or weekly watches for a while. I've been a bit ill, it's been very busy. It's half term this week. If you're in the UK you'll understand. So my son's been off school, I've been here, there and everywhere. So I haven't had the chance, but today I had to do another video for another project. But I decided to give you a quick catch up on what I'd watched this month, in the month of February. It's going to be very fast. I'm not going to spend a long time on any movies. Okay, so let's get started. On the 1st of February, I watched finally Bottoms. This one was one I was hearing a lot of different opinions on. I actually really enjoyed this. So the story surrounds two high school girls. They're both lesbian. They both have massive crushes on people that don't really notice him. It's very much the story of the high school nerd boy, but instead of being heterosexual boys, it's lesbian girls. They decide they are going to start a club in order to meet girls that they fancy, and this is just everything that happens along the way. Some of it's a bit stereotypical, but I personally really enjoyed the humour. I laughed a lot at it. I really enjoyed it. I would recommend. I give it a 3.5 out of 5. I know it's not for everyone though. On the 3rd, I went to the cinema to see Argylle. Now, I know a lot of people hate this, and I have to actually raise something that really angered me. That that unsubscribe button was pressed faster than you can imagine. Yes, I'm all for people disagreeing, obviously, but a comment that a reviewer that I was watching made about this movie made me so angry. I didn't comment. I thought I don't want to start spoiling shit, but anyway. So first of all, Argylle. I thought it was fun. I thought it was light-hearted. It had Henry Cavill. I mean, what's not to like? For me, not quite enough of him for my taste. I didn't know a lot of what the plot was going to be like before I went in, because that's how I like to watch the movies. Obviously, this follows a lady who is writing a series of spy novels with a character called Argylle as the main character, who is played by Henry Cavill. And this movie has a whole other side to it, which I'm not going to tell you if you haven't seen it, but there's a lot more going on than a spy movie here. I really enjoyed it. I loved the performances. Now, as I was watching this, the main actress, Bryce Dallas Howard, I remember thinking, finally, this woman isn't a stick. She's not fat. She's curvaceous. She's got a nice big bum. She's got thighs. And it was so refreshing to see a woman in a movie as the lead. I was like, loved it. There are scenes in it that are really over the top. I'm not giving spoilers, but there's an ice skating scene. It's, things are really over the top. There's a scene with coloured like powder. I love them. It's right up my street. It's really OTT. It's not something that would actually happen, but it's funny. I enjoyed the hell out of it, but I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. And on to what was said that really irked me. I was watching a review of this. I didn't actually watch the whole review because the more the person opened their mouth, the crosser I got. The comment was that they shouldn't have an old fat bird. Don't think they said bird. There shouldn't be an old fat woman in the lead because it was completely unbelievable that an old fat woman could do this. I don't know what age the girl is, to be honest. But to have Bryce Dallas Howard, who in my opinion is absolutely beautiful and represents an awful lot more of real women out there, to have her described as an old fat woman who it's not believable. I mean, what else about that movie was believable? Literally nothing. It was meant to be OTT. But they took exception to the fact that she wasn't a stick insect and she wasn't in her 20s. And they said they should have put a much slimmer, a more athletic woman in her 20s in the role. I switched the review off and unsubscribed because that, my friends, is shit. It's like, this is why actresses that don't fit a certain box can't get movie roles, and this movie was brave enough to cast a normal looking woman, and me as a woman watching it, and might I add, my husband absolutely thought she was beautiful. So she had really pale skin, which we don't see a lot, and she had really lovely curves, which we don't see an awful lot, and he was very happy watching her. Oh, so on the same day, I watched finally All of Us Strangers. Now, this is one I've been hearing an awful lot about, and this is one I don't want to say an awful lot about the premise. I've given this a 4 out of 5, and this follows two men who meet one evening. There's a bit of a spark, there's a bit of attraction between the two, and this movie follows them getting together. It follows their relationship. It follows something that is happening in one of these men's lives that seems a little bit unbelievable, that it couldn't be happening, that it shouldn't be happening. But I can't tell you what that is without ruining it for you. There is a lot of symbolism in this. When you finish, you sort of realise what the movie was trying to say. This movie is implicitly acted, really deep. Obviously, I'm a heterosexual female. Maybe you didn't know. But this really is the first movie, I think, or one of the first movies that really puts you in the position of life as a gay man. And you know what the difficulties and the horrors and things like having to come out. I mean, why do people have to come out? Why is it anybody's business? But stuff that I have thought about before, and I have thought it must be so difficult sometimes with society and its norms. But this really puts you in a position of seeing how this man grew up as a child, his relationship with his parents, who actually, you know, seem like quite decent people, but there's still that underlying bigotry that their son is gay. It's just so well done, and it really put me in a position that I personally obviously have not experienced, and it really put me right where how that must feel. This is very sad, it's very moving, it's very deep. It's a beautiful movie. I give it a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. I would thoroughly recommend that you check it out. But if you want bells, whistles, explosions, fast moving movies, no. If you want a character study, if you want a real deep understanding of this man's life, relationship, fears, his relationship with his parents, all that sort of stuff, definitely check it out. It's a beautiful movie and one I will watch multiple times, definitely. On the same evening, this is a complete opposite, Dogman. I have a feeling this is going to be really long now because I'm talking longer than I want to, but I can't help it. I had to tell you about that fat old woman comment. I just couldn't get over it. And people might say, well, it's an opinion. You know, people are entitled to their opinion. And yes, they are, but do I want to watch someone with that opinion? No, I don't, so I unsubscribed. I'm not about giving people shit in comments and watching their videos and getting angry and then leaving them more shit in comments. If you watch like content that isn't for you, I'm all for people saying, well, I didn't like the movie because X, Y, Z. I thought this was bad, I thought the performance was bad, it didn't resonate with me, I didn't get it, fine. But if you're going to sit and say she was a fat old woman and she shouldn't have been in it, no. Dogman, this is a really odd movie and I loved it. It stars someone called Caleb Landry Jones, who I don't think I've seen in anything before. A boy bruised by life finds his salvation through the love of his dogs. Now, if you know me, you will know I love dogs more than most people. This is about a guy that has a horrible childhood. That's father is a piece of work. That's brother is a piece of work. And I can't give you much more as to why he feels so close to his dog, what happens there. But he grows up surrounded by dogs. There's a lot more to it than that. A lot more happens. It's about his discovery of himself. It's a beautiful movie. It's really different. I really enjoyed it. I would thoroughly recommend. I know I'm not telling you a lot, but that's purposefully because I don't want to ruin anything for you. I loved it. Dogman, 3.5 out of 5. Lift. I'll not spend any time on this. This is the new heist movie with, and his name is not coming to me, Kevin Hart. I can see there at the bottom, a lot of people aren't very keen. 2.5 out of 5 I gave this. I thought it was a very typical heist movie. I thought the action scenes were well done. They were quite thrilling. The main reason I watched this is because it was filmed where I live in Northern Ireland, so I was curious to see how much I would recognise, which was not an awful lot. Kevin Hart, when he was filming this here, did a load of impromptu stand-up gigs and people were obviously delighted. But yeah, it's okay. You could watch an awful lot worse. We're not on the levels of Ocean's 11 or anything like that, but it was an okay little movie. I give it a 2.5 out of 5. Where are we? The Beekeeper. I gave that the same because I thought it was funny. Maybe not where I was meant to think it was funny. Jason Statham. The only thing I've really liked Jason Statham in was the first Meg movie. I didn't like the second one. This is, the action scenes in this are very well done. It's entertaining. This wouldn't have been a movie that would have interested me at all, but everyone was talking about it being fantastic, so I checked it out and I thought it was okay. I thought it was watchable, but something like Argyle is played to be over the top and stupid, and this is, I thought, was maybe played to be quite serious, and I thought it should have been played a lot more tongue-in-cheek. Maybe I've missed the humour. Maybe it is supposed to be humorous. I thought it was okay. I didn't love it. On the 6th, I watched In the Land of Saints and Sinners, following watching Arin from Screen Star's review on this. I wasn't even aware of this movie. The reason I watched this one is twofold. It's about the Troubles era in Northern Ireland, and it stars Liam Neeson. We won't talk about Liam Neeson again. He's from my hometown. We're very proud of him. In a remote Irish village, a damaged Finbar is forced to fight for redemption after a lifetime of sins, but what price is he willing to pay? In the land of saints and sinners, some sins can't be buried. So the thing that's really weird about this all the way through, Liam Neeson's he's done some pretty bad stuff. He doesn't seem like a bad guy at the heart of things, but he's done some pretty bad stuff. We never get a clarification as to what side he's on the whole way through this. I think you have a good idea, but it never typifies exactly what's going on. But while Ciarán Hinds is in this as well, who I love, Kerry Condon's in it, Jack Gleeson, Colm Meaney, you may think, oh, this is a good cast. I give this a 3 out of 5. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a decent watch. I don't think it will be for most people. It's very, very slow. It's not got any action scenes or anything like that in, or very little of that ilk. But it is very matter of fact about what happened with the Troubles here. It only gives a little side of that, not half of what went on, but it follows just one man and what he's doing. If you're really interested in that subject matter and you can bear a slow burn movie, then yeah, definitely check it out. The performances are all really good, but it didn't move me in any way. It didn't make me feel any heightened emotions. It just was an entertaining enough little distraction. So I give that a 3 out of 5. Oh, now talking about a decent movie. Oh god, I'm sorry guys, there are so many. Right, American Fiction. What can I say about American Fiction that hasn't already been said? Watch this if you haven't seen it, guys. So this is a movie about a very frustrated author who isn't having much success having his work appreciated or published. He's really annoyed by the fact of black stereotype and what is expected to be written in these books, and the way he has to like drop into all these ridiculous stereotypes, and that does not represent him or obviously all black people. But he decides that he's going to write a book that is just every black stereotype you can think of, that's ridiculous, even down to the title. He tries everything that he can to make people say, this is rubbish, just go away. And the more ridiculous he makes this, the more people are eating it up, the more people want to publish. He becomes quite well known, quite successful, on the back of something that is nothing that he stands for. This is such a clever movie. It's funny. The title performance, the main performance in this is fantastic. Is it Jeffrey Wright? Loved him in this. His relationships in this with people, how he interacts with people, I loved. There's a little bit of family stuff going on that I really enjoyed. I did find it really moving in places. I loved his character. I was automatically drawn to him as a character. Yeah, it did that thing. It made me feel. It's a 4 out of 5 from me. I thoroughly enjoyed it and hope it gets some recognition at the Oscars. Red Rooms. This is one that I was made aware of from Spooky Astronaut's channel. It sounded right up my street. This is very slow, won't be for most people. This is a French movie. The high-profile case of serial killer Ludwig Chevalier has just gone to trial, and Kellyanne is obsessed. When reality blurs with her morbid fantasies, she goes down a dark path to seek the final piece of the case's puzzle. So this is just about a very normal girl that becomes obsessed with this trial. There's a lot of like on-screen stuff on this, like on a computer screen. She goes to the trial every day. This guy has done some heinous things. There is certain evidence missing from the trial that they would really need to prove and to prosecute this guy. This girl goes about trying to find it. I really enjoyed it. I give it a 3 out of 5. I found it thoroughly engaging. I liked the performances, but it was very slow. And it's one of those movies that a lot of people would watch, and at the end they would say, well, what was the point of that? Nothing happened. But you'll know, if you're a movie fan, you'll know the kind of movie I mean, where people say, well, nothing really happened. And in this, it is just about her seeking this evidence. Can this guy be prosecuted? About her obsession, about a weird sort of, what way can I put it without telling you? Just how personally this obsession she has with this case and this serial killer, how it affects her and how she shows that. I can't say an awful lot, but it's worth a watch. It's not amazing. Most people will probably gloss over that one, but it was interesting enough. On the 8th, I watched Palms. This has just popped up on Netflix. I didn't want to concentrate. I think I had a bad headache that day. This is about a load of older women in a retirement home, and one of them decides, Diane Keaton, she decides that she wants to start a cheerleading squad with these old women who obviously are not capable of what normal cheerleaders are. And it's just a nice story about a group of old ladies becoming a cheerleading squad. It's very predictable, you know exactly where it's going, exactly what's going to happen. It's just easy to watch. I give it a 2 out of 5 because it's not the highest quality sort of thing you're ever going to see. It's just something to pop on the telly that's very non-offensive. Okay, on the same evening, this is a documentary that I've been looking for everywhere, and it just inexplicably popped up on Prime. I'm like, oh my god, there it is. It's called They Called Him Mostly Harmless. This is a story that I've been aware of for years with my fascination with true crime. So this is about a guy that his body was found in the middle of the wilderness. What does it say? After he was found, the search began. When an unidentified hiker is found deceased in the Florida wilderness, authorities release a sketch. Multiple hikers all call in, claiming to have met the man. There's only one problem: he never told them his name. It would take 2 years, thousands of devoted internet sleuths, and a miracle of science to identify him, and that's when the trouble really starts. So I remember like seeing something about this quite a long time ago before I actually identified who this guy was, and before they got to the bottom of who he was. I found this really interesting. There was a lot of interviews with, when I say hikers, it's not just going up a little hill. These are people like that do things like the Appalachian Trail, that are hiking and sleeping out for like weeks and months. Serious hikers here, and they all have trail names. They don't use their own names, which is why he never told anyone his name. Someone else has to give you your trail name. You can't give yourself one. And he had come into a camp one night and somebody had made a joke, oh, you're not going to do this when we're all sleeping, because they didn't know him. And he says, no, I'm mostly harmless. So he got the trail name Mostly Harmless. Really interesting if you like true crime. It's on Prime at the moment. If you're a Prime customer, it's free. 3.5 out of 5. It was a nice little documentary. Where are we? Lover, Stalker, Killer. This is a new one on Netflix. Again, I really enjoyed this one. I give this one a 4 out of 5. This is one that if you're into true crime at all, or even if you watch movies, you will get what's happening before this culminates, I would like to imagine. This is one about a guy that has split up with the mother of his children and that is not wanting to get into anything serious, and he is dating someone and he meets someone else he's attracted to, and basically he's seeing a couple of people at the same time. One of these women is a little bit woohoo, and she goes on to put this guy through absolute hell. This guy that's a little bit cocky and thinks he's the man, that he's landing all these women, ends up with a psycho bitch from hell. It's just the stuff this woman does and what she is able to put him through, and the stuff that you're able to do to someone and the police won't do a thing about it is ridiculous. And I know from first-hand experience, having had a stalker many years ago, an ex-partner actually, and the viewpoint was until they physically hurt you, there's nothing we can do. Thankfully the rules have changed now, but in this, the stuff that this woman does is just crazy. On the next evening, how long have I talked? Oh, I could keep this under half an hour, we'll be fine. Nowhere Special. I really like this little movie. It won't be for everyone. I give this a 4 out of 5. So John is a 35-year-old window cleaner. He's dedicated his life to bringing up his little boy, 4-year-old, called Michael. The mother left just after he was born. When John is given only a few months to live, he attempts to find a new perfect family for Michael, determined to shield him from the terrible reality of the situation. This is a true story. This guy, I think it's a brain cancer that he has. He's dying. That's not a spoiler. That becomes evident right at the start of the movie. The whole movie is about him trying to find somewhere for his son. This is this little boy's first performance, and he's such a sweetheart, such a lovely little boy, so good. Darren couldn't get over it. He's like, well, how have they made him not look at the camera and stuff, because he's so young. This is really moving. It's, as a mum, as a parent, the thought of this being your life, you have no relatives, you're dying, and you're a very young child. You know, you have to find somewhere for him, but it has to be the right fit, and he meets all these different potential adoptive parents. It's so moving, it's so real, it's a lovely movie, it's a sad movie. It went how I thought it was going to go, thankfully. But yeah, I really do recommend it. Nowhere Special. Lovely little movie. Very sad though. Oh god. Right. I'll read you that at the end. Okay. Beau travail, which means good work. Right. I've said this before. I'm not saying love me, I'm thick, but I don't get this at all. My husband doesn't get this. He felt even worse about this than I did. He says that's one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life, to quote my husband. This is a movie about the Foreign Legion, following a specific guy. It seems to be all about males' relationship with one another and repressed, not being able to talk about feelings, jealousy and regret. I get what the movie's trying to do, but it bored me to tears. It's just repetitive men doing army exercises. There's very little dialogue in it. I get that we're meant to get the emotion of it, but it was so boring. It's just watching guys do, and it's not a little clip of them doing stuff. It's ages and ages of them doing army workout stuff. And it's like, nothing's happening. And then something happens right at the end of the movie, but by that stage I was so bored I didn't care. It says maybe freedom begins with remorse. Foreign Legion officer Galup recalls his once glorious life leading troops in the Gulf of Djibouti. Oh, Jesus, Lisa will have butchered that. His existence there was happy, strict and regimented, but the arrival of a promising young recruit, Centane, I can't remember how it was pronounced, plants the seeds of jealousy in Galup's mind. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's just one of those things. It's like one of the... I don't like giallo movies. I just don't enjoy them. I don't like art for art's sake when the story suffers. If you're still delivering me a decent... And I don't need spoon-fed a story. I don't need massive exposition. I don't even need a really linear storyline at all. I'm not stupid, believe it or not. I'm relatively well educated. I don't like movies like this. If you're going to do something for art's sake with symbolism, fine. Give me something else. You know, plenty of movies manage to do it. They manage to put across a story, an emotion, a feeling. And I mean, there is a scene at the end of this, and if you enjoy this movie, it will probably be really powerful. I didn't care. I knew what was going to happen. I was like, right, okay, that's happened. I'm going to tell you what I wrote. Pretentious twaddle. Sorry. A movie requires a cohesive story. There is absolutely no narrative development. I need to care. I need at least to be interested. I'm not interested in watching repetitive banality and trying to work out what the director was trying to achieve by such utterly mind-numbing techniques. I want to be moved. I want to feel. Hell, I want at least to be entertained if nothing else. And this did absolutely none of these. No, I'm not stupid. I didn't miss anything, and I get what the director was attempting to achieve. It never ceases to amaze me that if you don't like a movie that's considered to be a masterpiece, it's obviously because you're too stupid to have understood what you were watching. I say bollocks to that pretentious, condescending viewpoint and to this film. Right, that maybe seems a bit harsh, but I'm so tired of people telling me I didn't understand a narrative, or I missed something, or you didn't get it. It's like, no, I didn't get it, because I get what they're trying to do. It didn't work for me. That doesn't mean I didn't understand or I'm stupid. And you know, you're entitled to a viewpoint on a movie. I mean, I've seen a lot of life, guys. I'm not a young person. I've seen a lot of movies. And for someone to tell me, oh, well, you didn't get... No, I did get it. It didn't have the same effect on me that it did on you. So I'm putting that in now before people start telling me I didn't get it in the comments. Yeah, Beau travail, it didn't work for me at all. So, 14th, Madam Web. Now, that is going to completely have you think I know nothing about nothing. I gave Madam Web 3 out of 5. Yes, I did. I thought it was, for the first third, I was really enjoying it. I liked the character. I liked Dakota Johnson's character. I found her very similar to me, very matter of fact. Not wanting to faff about with the woman, very much an awkward individual around socialisation. Wants to be with the lads barbecuing and not in another room cooing over a baby shower. I really appreciated the sort of awkward character they had her. Beautiful woman. The red jacket she wears in this I desperately want. But the last 2/3 of this movie are a bit of a mess. But when I go to watch a superhero movie, I don't expect cinematic genius. I don't expect anything like massive. Can't think of a better word, I do apologise. I enjoyed it as a popcorn flick to go and take my son to see in the cinema. He was entertained by it. My husband thought it was okay. We weren't expecting anything wonderful, but do I think it was a pile of crap? No. But I enjoyed Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and I enjoyed Flash. You don't need perfection to enjoy a popcorn flick. I don't expect it. Like in the last one that is being lauded as a masterpiece, I found it really dull and boring. This I didn't find dull or boring. It was a bit, you know, oh well that wouldn't happen, this wouldn't happen, but I don't go to see a superhero film for it to be realistic. You know, it's just not one of those things. I don't get why everyone thinks it's one of the worst things they've ever seen. Some people are saying this is worse than Morbius, which I completely disagree with. Morbius, even with, forgotten the actor's name, very nice to look at, very nice on the eye. He's supposed to be a bit of an arsehole, but aside from that, even that didn't keep me interested in Morbius. But this was okay. So I shouldn't have put that in right after Botervaya, should I? Because you'd be like, well, clearly she hasn't a fucking clue what she's talking about. But film is subjective. It's, you know, it's one of those things. You don't have to like something because someone else does, and you don't have to hate something because someone else does. It'd be a very boring old world if we all agreed, wouldn't it? So, migration. I went to the cinema with Isaac and a couple of his friends. It's half term, like I said, to see this one yesterday. It was just an all-round nice little cartoon. It's not on the level of Up or Toy Story or Coco, to give you three of my favourites, but it is entertaining. It's not boring. I did chuckle quite a few times at the characters. There were quite a few laughs in it. It's something that if they did another one, I would definitely go to see it. It was a fun, easy to watch little movie. My sort of like scoring, by the way, is if I was entertained by something, I will give it a 3. It may have issues and it may have lots of issues. It may not be fantastic, but if I enjoyed my time with it for whatever reason, it's a 3. If I give it above a 3, then, you know, I was seriously impressed by it. So the Iron Claw. I've been hearing so much about this. Again, like there was another one. I wouldn't have went to see this had I not heard so much about it. I'm not into wrestling. That doesn't mean I'm going to bash wrestling. It's just not. I don't like sports of any descriptions. So the Iron Claw. This is about the Von Erich brothers. I'm not going to tell you any story because everybody knows the story. And their supposed curse and tragedy that befalls the entire family. Now, I gave this a 3.5 out of 5. You may think that's a bit low. There are reasons for that. I thought the performances were fantastic. I was seriously impressed at how buffed up Zac Efron got. I couldn't I'm reading all this stuff. Did he take steroids? Because he's so big. It's like unnatural looking. And his face looked a bit odd. But apparently he broke his jaw and it had to be realigned, and that's why his face looks a bit odd. I was convinced he had taken steroids, but he adamantly said he hadn't. I don't know. But while the acting in this was fantastic and the brothers' bond was probably the best thing about the movie, there was nothing wrong with the movie. I felt it was too long. I felt it should have been either a bit shorter. They left out certain aspects that were, to me, extremely important, things that they left out of this movie that would have only added to it, and I'm really curious. I couldn't really figure out why. I failed to tell this story properly because it is so much. I feel this would have been better as broken down into maybe 3, like a trilogy. That maybe sounds a bit much, but you know, we had Rocky, we had Rambo. Don't do it years apart, do one a year. Have it as a series. I don't feel that a movie runtime is enough to tell this story. And I felt myself getting bored in places because they were glossing over stuff that was massive. Stuff is happening in this that really should be moving you, that really should be like hitting you like a gut punch. And you're like, that's just happened, and then something else happens. And whatever way it is it's told, it was told in such a way that I knew I should be feeling much more than I was. I felt these things were rushed over and other things were like dilly-dallied on, were like, I don't know if that's a word that other people use. They spent too much time on inconsequential things and not enough time on massive things. And like I say, when you read the story about this and you find out certain things that were left out of the story, to me they were really important things. I would have liked to have seen this split down into a few movies rather than one, or a series, one of the two. I just don't leave out such massive parts of this story. Although it was implicitly well acted and I can see why everyone's ranting about it, it just seemed a bit rushed in places and a bit dragged out in other places to me. Very well done though. And finally, last night I watched Monolith. Somebody had recommended this to me recently, and I don't remember who. I didn't really enjoy this. I gave it a 2.5 out of 5. This movie has got Lily Sullivan in it. She's the only person in the movie. Other people are in it on the telephone, on the other end of a phone. She is a podcaster. She has been sacked as a reporter for not getting proof about a story that she has ran, and because she can't prove the story, it looks like she's reporting false news. So she has been given a final chance, this podcast, which is supposed to be about, what's it called? It doesn't say there. It's supposed to be about like beyond belief type of thing. And she has discovered this supposed mystery, and the whole movie is about her talking to different people and trying to get to the bottom of this mystery. It's not what it seems. Things go a bit weird at the end. It's very long and drawn out. It's not long, I think it's like an hour and a half, but the movie feels really long. And then something happens at the end and you're like, eh? And you're left with a question, is this actually happening, or is this a movie about her mental health? One of those where you're Googling at the end, explanation, and it was deliberately left very ambiguous so that you could draw your own conclusion. I wouldn't particularly recommend it. Lily Sullivan's really good in it, but it is very, very slow. Only watch it if it sounds like something you would be interested in. So there you go, guys. That is what I've been watching for the last couple of weeks. I apologise, half an hour, guys. I do apologise. I haven't really been playing any games because I have been plagued with migraines and headaches. It's been really bad. So God only knows what's happening. Headache city with me at the minute. Migraines. I've even had to start keeping a bloody diary about migraines. So I can't really tell you any games I've been playing. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I don't know when the next video will be, very much dependent on time and health and all that stuff. So that is it for me for this video. Just to remind you guys that the voting obviously is done for the Rubber Duckies, and they're going to be having their live show on the 25th of February this month. So all the winners for everything you voted for. Loads of us will be there in the comments having a chat, having a bit of a laugh, finding out who won all these different categories, and there will be little videos of loads of your favourite YouTubers throughout the night. So thank you for watching, guys. Please check in with the Rubber Duckies on the 25th. I shall definitely be there in the comments. The times and everything are on any of the guys' channels and their social medias. It's different depending where you are in the world. So thank you for watching, guys, and I shall be back again with another video at some stage. Over and out from Lisa Lives.